Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And my name's Susannah, and I live with trains. And today is going to be the first episode of Susannah's Come Build With Me 2024. And I obviously had, by the video, I've obviously had quite a lot of response as far as the hard standing and the turf that I'd asked, would you like to see a video on how I do it? And so quite a number of you have asked to see it. So today is going to be the day in which you're going to see how I'm going to be doing it. And I'm actually going to do it directly on the layout because I do actually want to add another little bit. So I'm going to show you how I create the joint and all the rest of it. So it's just, and how to do the hard stand and how to do the turf. So without further ado, let's get on to the area that I'm going to be working on. So I hope you can see this all well. So the area we're going to be working on is this sort of area here. I've decided that I wanted to add a further section of foam board to this foam board already that I have here. And for those of you who aren't aware of what foam board is, you can get it in various different colours. And this is a piece of foam board, it's white. I always go for white because it helps in this application. I think you can go for greys and blacks on this application also for foam board, but I actually would recommend using the white, and that will become important as I show you how to do it. Now what I want to do is create sort of like a little mini extension here of the foam board and actually butt it up against this join here, which you can see hopefully. And what I tend to do first of all is you take a sheet of paper, and I haven't actually got any large sheets of paper, but it can be any paper, it's not specific. You just sort of line it up in the area in which you would like to do it. So I'm about to show you the area that I'm going to be sort of creating, and that's going to be sort of a patch area around here. I've got to be careful because I've got the signal here and here. So that will be kind of where I'm at with that. And what I want to do also is make sure I cover that bit. So that's essentially the area that I'm kind of working on. I'm going to work on, add a little triangle sort of in this area here. And I don't know if you can notice, but there's a lip here. And what you want to do is basically, what I normally do is you're creating a template. And usually what I would do here, I've already actually done this, so that's why I'm not really being too careful about this. But normally I would, if I've got 2 sheets of paper or something like that, or more, or something, then I would sort of put some masking tape to hold it all together, and then basically you transfer the shape over. But so here you go, you've got a little lip here, and all you do is nothing more complicated than your thumb, and you run your finger against that join. And this is so you can marry it up together, and you just press it as hard as you can. It doesn't have to be hard, but as long as you can make out the indentation. And I don't know if it will come out on the paper, but on the camera, but hopefully you can see it. I will lift it up so you can see it. But you can see that you've kind of got an outline. I don't know how well it comes out, but I think you can see the outline of the paper, of the template that you're trying to create. And then the next thing you want to do is get a pair of scissors, and if you're too young, then get your parents to do it for you. And basically you follow that line. And then hopefully when you butt this up, so you've now kind of, you can see those are 2 bits of paper. So hopefully now when I've done that, you can actually see that that actually marries up perfectly with the area in which I'm trying to create. And then for the next bit, I mean, obviously what I'd do is do the same again. And you'd run your finger up against the track work, and you basically creating a line like so. So I'm just checking my signal because I keep being paranoid about damaging it and knocking it and all the rest of it. So as you can see, we are slowly creating the shape that we want. And all we've done is use a pair of scissors. Oops, let me cut that out right in front of you so you can see what I'm doing. Just following the line that I created. And essentially, you've kind of got the shape that you want. And then now you're in the sort of ballpark of what you want. You might have to trim it. You might have to retrim it in order to get it to fit properly. You might have to take a little bit more off here and there, but you're generally in the right area for your template. Then what you want to do is you want to take your foam board, which is what I've got here, big piece of foam, but it doesn't have to be, because I always save the offcuts. This is just an offcut from one of the bigger pieces. And then what you do is essentially you put your template on top of your foam board and you transfer the template onto your foam board, and then you'd end up with an outline on your foam board, which you can then use. What I use is a Stanley knife, a nice sharp Stanley knife. Again, if you're too young, get your parents to do it for you, or you can use scissors, but I would always recommend the Stanley knife for a better cut. So basically what you do is you transfer the lines onto a piece of foam board, and then you'll end up following those lines and cutting those lines out, and you'll end up with a piece like that of foam board. Foam board comes in various different sizes. It comes in various different thicknesses. I think this is about 3 mil thick, 3 to 5 mil thick. And like I said, you can get the biggest size you can get is A1, which is what I've bought before, because the majority was done over here. So now, as you can see, I've now got a piece of foam board which sits here like so, and it butts up really nicely, like so. So that's the general principles of how I kind of get to this point of creating the shape that I want. And I did exactly the same when I married up the foam board to the filler. Just literally took a large sheet of paper, sugar paper, laid it over the area in which I wanted to create, and then used my thumb to sort of get the imprint that I needed to basically be able to marry up the two sections together. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because it isn't always perfect. I mean, this is quite a decent join because it's two straight lines, but when you're doing curves, sometimes you can be a little bit out, but it doesn't matter as long as you can use, because you can use filler. So the next stage is to get it down. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. So for this next stage, I have PVA glue, and I will just put some glue on the back side of the foam board, as you can see. Hopefully you can see me just doing that. And as you can also see, this isn't actually perfect, the floor. I haven't actually really gone to town and scraped literally every single bit off. Now I'm not going to put too, I mean, it's just really on the edges. That's all I'm trying to get to, because I've put most of it on here anyway. But I'll just leave it like that for now. Alright, I've got a sponge here, cheapo sponge, and basically I am spreading out the glue onto all the ends, right along the edges. So it's all nicely done. And then once it's all there, Now, as you can see, the foam board, because of the moisture, a little bit of moisture, it doesn't actually stay down. So what I do at this stage to help it glue down is, because I know I'm going to paint it and I'm going to cover it up anyway, it's not a big deal. I need to get my... At this point you can go one of two ways. You can go with the old hammer route or the pin pusher. Some people, when they glue things, they like to add weight, but the thing being with foam board is you have to be really careful with foam board, because foam board is quite it's very easy to mark and dent, and so if you kind of put too much weight on it, you could end up denting it and marking it and all the rest of it. So that's why you can either go with the pin pusher like I do sometimes, or you mean like this time of the day there's lots of people awake, so I can, you know, use the hammer and then it makes less of a mark. But basically just basically pins down the foam board so it doesn't go anywhere until the glue goes off. Then once the glue goes off, so basically these are track fixing pins. That's all I'm using, just to pin it down until the glue goes off, and then I'll just paint over it. Like I said, I'm not aiming for perfection, because I know that yards aren't perfect in any case and they're even a road. So you can now see that this is now not going to go anywhere. But I do like to put extra on the joins, because when you then come to do the filler in, there's no bounce, there's no flexibility in it, so it doesn't end up cracking the filler. So like I said, this kind of looks like a bit of a bodge job, a bit of a patch job, but that's how I've always done it in the since I've been infilling the foam board. Like I said, it doesn't matter if there's a few indentations or anything, because we're going to go over that anyway. But you can see there's still some bounce in here, so wherever you see there's a bit of bounce, just take it out, just push your finger on it, you can feel it where it's bouncing. And believe me, you won't see any of this once it's all painted up. As you can see it now, you can't really tell that I'm actually, you probably didn't even know I was using track fixing pins. So it just goes to show you. I'm just going to put a couple here, just to pin it down. So hopefully once I've done this and finished it, you'll see it and you'll go, gosh, you can't even tell where the join is. Right, so that's pretty much where we're at with that. So the next thing to do is to, now it's so tight on here, you know, you could get away with it probably, but I just want to get rid of the line. So I've got some all-purpose filler, and this is the bit where it kind of gets a bit messy. But if you've done a good joint, you should be able to sort of use very minimal filler. This is only purely because I want to get rid of the lines. I mean, like I said, it's totally up to you how you do these things. Some people, they use card to do this. Other people will use other methods, filler, like I've used filler and I've used card, and filler is good because I think it looks really realistic, but it's very messy. And like I said, to get it off now, you can't, it's difficult to get off and try and hack into it. So you end up, so that's now all blended in, look. So that's cool. So I'm just gonna quickly go over the holes. You don't have to be honest. I don't normally, but I think it gets rid of some of it. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. That's all it needs. It doesn't need anything else than that, to be honest. For me, the important thing is to try and cover this seam as best as I can. But because I did a good joint originally, hopefully this will just be a case of just a light sand tomorrow. So basically you just leave this go off. Now usually I do this kind of thing in the evening, because then that way when I get up in the morning it's had overnight, especially if I'm not working the next day, because then it can be working whilst I'm sleeping. Or if I go out to work, then it's working whilst I'm at work. So I always try and sort of plan it and time it in such a way that it gets done when I don't really need the layout or you need to use the layout. So that's how I do the hard standing for now. So you'll have to wait, well for you it'd be a few seconds, but for me I'll now have to wait overnight or so and wait for it to go off. And then we'll come back tomorrow or the next day, and then I'll show you the next stage of it and the painting stage and how to blend it in and all the rest of it. So join me in a few moments and I will show you what the next stage is. But for me, it's going to be an overnight job. So see you in a mo. So here we are. It's a few hours later actually, and it's dried off. So I'm just going to give this a quick clean, which is, I'm just going to use some sandpaper. I'm just using just 150 because that's what I have to hand. Again, I'm not being overly precise about this because I'm not really that bothered. I just want to take away the line. So just give that a quick wipe down. To blend it in. I can feel a little bit still. But not too much. And that is pretty much that. Let me just, got some 400 grit paper here as well, so I'll just give that a quick wipe over with that. Super duper. So that is now done. So I'm just going to clean this up with a vac and then I'll come back to you. So the next thing to do, it's now all nice and done. It's that fine line is now gone. You won't notice it. You'll notice it when I do the painting that the line isn't there. So the way to do the painting is quite. It's not. I was quite well. Basically, don't you buy grey paint. to make grey. Use white and black to make your paint. And the reason why I say that is because this is actually Yorkshire Provender soup, but I just keep the tins. And what you want to do is, to get the best results, is not to mix it properly. As you can see, it's not totally mixed properly, because that's what's going to give you the mottled effect and the sort of worn effect. And also, by using the white of the foam board, you're also using that as a kind of undertone to create this weathered, worn effect. So you don't want to do it properly. So, and the other thing you're going to need is now let me show you what else I bought. Now, I don't know if you've got a works anywhere near you, but if you do, it's worth going there, because that's where I get these cheap paints from. But I also bought a set of cheap brushes, these pack of 3 like this, these 3, for £3. Absolute bargain, well worth buying. So that will get you through the work quite quickly. So we're going to use, oh, okay. So we're going to use this, and as you can, I don't know if you can see it, it's not quite mixed all the way through. And what I do also is, just to enhance that, I've got this paint here, this black paint. I just put a bit on the side, not actually in it, but you can see there's that blob on the side, just like that. Because then, if I think when I'm painting this is as you can see, it's going on. You can see there's a bit of grey on it and a bit of black in it. You can see it's not. And to get the best results is basically, don't do it properly. You know, don't be too perfect. If you do it perfect, it's not going to look right. So if you, like I said, for example, if you put a bit of grey in, it's just going to look like too clean, unless that's the look you're going for. If you're going for like the brand new, just laid tarmac kind of thing, then go for that. And as you can see, there's a bit of black, and you can see that it's not really painted properly. You can see that the colours aren't really mixed properly. And that's what I'm kind of going for. And that kind of gives you the worn look. And I've got that bit of black there. Look, I'll take a little bit of black to that. And that kind of, can you see, it kind of really darkens it, and really kind of, and like I said, if it's too much, you just go back to the grey and you blend it out a bit more, and that's the whole thing. That's what you're doing. And then you just, so the main thing to take out of this is basically, don't do it properly. You know, don't mix the paints thoroughly. Just slap it on and be done with it. Now, that looks a bit too grey for my liking, so we're going to add a bit of black to that. That's it. Like I said, if it looks too grey or it doesn't look quite right, just add a bit more black. Look, see, that's what I'm trying to do here. Just add a bit more black that I've put on the side there. And the thing is, you're still getting the white undertones underneath. You can see it. And then what you do is you take your sponge, and to get rid of the brush marks, you start dabbing it, and that will soften it, and it will blend it in a lot better than if you just brush paint it. So just go with your sponge. This is a really important step, because it really takes away any of the brush strokes and the brush marks, and it helps to soften everything up and blend everything in. You can see now how it's blended into the other piece. You can't even tell which is the piece I've just painted. And and then that just looks absolutely ace. because now that is all, it's all done. No, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but as you can see, it's now blended in to the rest of what I've done. And you can't really tell where it starts and where it finishes. So I'm really, really, really pleased with that. And you just, like I said, just blend it all in, and then you'll be fine. And there's a little bit there that's a bit, I think that's because the sponge might have disintegrated a little bit. And you can see how that just looks absolutely the same as all the rest of it. But there is a bit here actually that could do be blended in just a bit more. Just blend it out a bit, just fade it out. And that's it. That's job done. And the other thing to take away from this is when this paint here that I've got in this tin, in this Yorkshire Provender tub, I mixed quite a lot of it in one batch. And I've got another couple of these of various different greys, because what I've done is, because in case I need to, like in this example, I've needed to extend the foam board out, I've still got the right consistency of grey paint as I did before, because I've mixed enough all the way through to cover such eventualities. So it's quite important that you kind of make sure that if you do mix your paints, make sure that you mix enough to get you through and see you through the job. So, and then that will just, again, now this looks great, because now this, you can see I've extended it, but you can't tell which bit, and you can't see the join. So that's come out really brilliant. I'm really pleased with that. So the next thing to do is just basically leave it, and that is job done. That is it done now. And now it's ready to do what you want to do for your next stage. That's how easy it is to work with foam board. Foam board is absolutely a brilliant medium to work with for this kind of application. What I would say about foam board is it does mark quite easily because it is foam board. So be careful with that, because, for example, if you lay the foam board with the glue, and instead of doing what I've done, which is use the track fixing pins, which, by the way, you can't even tell, you can't even see them, and you were to put like heavy items on top, you run the risk of damaging the foam board, because it is quite, it can be quite soft. So that's, so just take that, bear that in mind, that when you do that, that's it. Oh, that's better. There's a slight line that was bugging me, but you just blend that out. That's it. And that wasn't the filler, that was just the paint. So anyway, so that is how I do my hard standing, and moving forward, that is probably how I'm going to be doing my hard standing moving forward. I can't really do anything with filler, because with the filler I can't actually remove it, which is why I've had to infill it in the first place. But you can use these kind of techniques on filler. It will work the same way on filler. I'm not sure about card. Now, obviously, be really careful again with foam boards to do with moisture, so you don't want your paint too wet, so it doesn't warp. So, you know, don't use filler that's too runny, because that's not going to work either. So that's why it's quite useful to use paints which are kind of not so runny, and fillers that are quite kind of creamy and pasty rather than watery, because that will affect the foam board. So this will conclude this part of the video, and then stay tuned for part 2, where I'll show you how I do the turf that goes around here and creating various colours, and how I go about doing that. So welcome to part 2 of this little first episode of Susannah's Come Build With Me, and this is going to be how to make your own turf section. Now, I've demonstrated this once before, but for those of you who've missed it, I'll do it again. I can't claim any credit for this because I got this idea from another YouTuber. I can't remember who it was who did it, and I thought it was so cool that I thought I'd give it a go, and I did, and I've sort of haven't really looked back using this technique, because when you look at how much turf costs these days from Woodland Scenics, I think when I last checked it was about £8 or something like that for a bag. And when you buy turf from Woodland Scenics, you know, you don't just want to make your turf just sort of bland and have just one colour. You want a few tones and maybe a few different textures or something like that. And when you start thinking about it, it all starts to add up, because you end up buying 2 or 3 bags to create 2 different blends or 3 colours or whatever. You're trying to create a blend of colours, and it adds up quite quickly. And then once you've used the bag, if you need more, then that's another outlay you have to create. Now, I can't remember, like I said, can't take credit for this, but like I said, somebody suggested getting a cheap coffee grinder off of Amazon, which is exactly what I've done, which is what this is. And as you can see, it's been well used already. And what that does is, well, I'll show you. So what you need for this bit is a cheap coffee grinder. Now this one, like I said, it was the cheapest I could find. I think it was about a tenner. So that's just over a price of a bag of Woodland Scenics. And then these sponges were just cheap ones that I got from Sainsbury's for about 35p. And then a blend of colours, really. You've probably got these colours at home. It doesn't have to be anything specific or anything fancy. I got these from my local works. The green, as you can see on it, says it's £2. I've got some black poster paint, which is also £1. And you can sort of create different colours and shades just by using these 2 colours alone. All you have to do is just vary the amounts that you put in it. So let me show you how it works. And this is what you're kind of aiming for, really. And you end up with this sort of loads of turf, loads of it, which, you know, you save yourself all that money. I mean, obviously, once you've got paid for the initial outlay of the coffee grinder, then the coffee grinder is just there to be used as and when. So eventually it pays for itself, which it has already, because I've gone through a lot of turf, and now I'm not buying Woodland Scenics turf because I'm making my own. So for those of you who haven't seen it, stick around and I'll show you how to do it. So, all right, see how we go. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Right, so there's a load of wiring all over the place, I think. So just get rid of that so you can concentrate. So what I've done is I've got a clear bag, a clear box, and I've got my coffee grinder in it. And what you need to do, my apologies for those of you who've seen it, but in case you haven't seen it, so you get these cheap sponges, and all you just do is separate the green from the yellow. So you've got 2 pieces. And I'll do one like this. And then you start tearing little bits off of it. And like I said, you make sure that your coffee grinder is unplugged and all the rest of it, and then you switch it on at the mains when you're ready to do it. But like I said, I've already done all that, so I'm good. So there you go, I'm going to put a load of green paint into here. And like I said, it can be any kind of green that you've got lying around. It's not specific, you know, you don't have to go, oh, it has to be a specific green or not. And then you press the button. Now let's see how this has come out. And as you can see, you have a load of green turf that's all in here. Right, let me just do this a bit more. It does get very messy. So, like I said, you get it totally. Now it has got a safety feature on this because you can't switch it on unless you press the button, so you can't, so that's why. But like I said, you can still see your green texture there. That's actually green turf, and I just wanted to show you that what this is like. And I'll do another one, but this time we'll tear this off again. So, and I'll take one more sponge just to fill it up a bit more. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing ever has to be perfect. It's just messing around. And I'll put that in there as well. So this time, just to show you the difference in the colours, you can put some green in there. But this time I'll also add some green, some black, just so you can see how you can just tone the colours and variate the colours. So there's some black in there as well. Sometimes you have to give it a good shake. Ooh, there's still more needs doing. That's better. And as you can see, it does get darker. Sometimes there are a few too many big chunks in there, but you might have to go over it. But you can see the difference in the colours already. And what I'll do is I'll throw the rest of this sponge in there. I'm not even going to add any colour to this one, and hopefully it will just take see, that's without adding the extra colour. So that was just using the colour that was in the paint that was left in there. You can see, and actually you can see how the actual residue has left 3 different shades just by using those 2 colours. So if we just sort of go like that, I'll just show you there, you can see that there's 3 different colours there, 3 different shades. So that was without anything, that's just straight out of the green. That's mixed in with black. And this one here is just using the residue that was in the adding no extra colours, but just using the residue of what was in the coffee grinder, and you still get this different type of green. You can see that it's different colours. The other colour I would add to this is, I don't know if you can notice on this one, but there is a little bit of brown. So if you take a bit of brown, that gives it some more earthy colours. And then you just sort of add it in, and this can go in with the rest of it, and then it will be ready for use once I need it. So it saves you sort of going through all that hassle of spending money at your local model shop on woodland scenic stuff. You can just use this little trick, and like I said, it will pay for itself. Like I said, you don't need to get an expensive coffee grinder because it's not worth it. But as you can see, I've now got a load. Actually, let me take this out. I'll pour it all out and you can see for yourself how much you've got all ready to go. And as you can see, there's all these different colours, and there's also a bit of brown in there, so it doesn't harm anything to add a bit of brown, because it gives it a bit of earthy texture. And you've got so much there to play with, and you can just, all you have to do is, once you've bought the coffee grinder, just buy some more cheap sponges, and you just keep going and going until to your heart's content, really. And like I said, if you want to do autumnal colours, you can add a bit of rust, so we can do that as well. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do that. So let's just throw that all in there. Why not? And that just sort of adds a bit of extra colour. You can even add yellow, you know, just for some autumnal colours. So what have we got left? How many sponges have we got left? Got one more sponge. Well, we've got two sponges left. So let's try some autumnal colours then. See what you think. I'm not sure if I tried this before, but I have used autumnal colours, so I don't mind doing it. Right, okay, so now, as it so happens, I have got a bit of rail match rust. I think this is light rust. Yeah, it is light rust. So there you go. Let's have a little look, see, just a little drop of it. And that kind of gives it that kind of red, kind of earthy, kind of autumnal kind of colours that you get. And look at your hands. So be prepared to get your hands dirty. Well, it's come out as a sort of, I guess because of the green residue. Look at that. That's even like that's even an olive green. Hasn't even gone, because it still had the green residue left in it. But that's still a very good colour. That's excellent, because that will, see what I mean? You can just mix around with just various different colours and see what you get. Look at that. Well, that was cool. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more autumnal, but that's fine, because like I said, you can clean this out, and you can see that this is actually slowly getting cleaned out, because I'm using the residue of the paint. But that is so cool. Okay, so we've got that. Got some right different colours in there. Right, let's try it again, because I have got one more left. So it's only, and that's the thing, the beauty of this is it's only 35p. So let's try this again. And see what colours we come up with this time. Let's try it again. We'll try the rust again and see how we get this time. Okay, that seems like quite a lot, but hey ho, we'll see what comes out. Whether we're still going to get some of the green. There might be too much in there. Okay, let's try it with slightly less in there. Sometimes when it gets stuck, it could be that there's a bit too much in there. So let's take a little bit out. And there you go. Oh yeah, that looks more autumnal. Right, okay, we'll try it again with the add those extra little bits. Oh, that looks much better. Yeah, see? You know what I mean? Look, you've got a nice little reddish autumnal look. So you can really go with different colours. You really just have fun with this and make as many different colours as you like. And then you can add that in, and then by the time you sort of, let's do it again, mix it all in together. And then, look at that. That's all ready to go really. Look, so you haven't just got brown greens in there, you've got some sort of earthy colours as well, which really dulls it down. So look at that. That is absolutely fabulous. So you've got loads there to work with and different colours as well. So like I said, the coffee grinder cost me, I think it was $9.99 from Amazon. Literally, it was the cheapest one that I could find. And once you've got that, then it's basically utilising the colours you have that you might have knocking around, and also just buying some cheap sponges, and you end up with your own turf and your own colour mix. So this concludes episode 1 of Susannah's Come Build With Me, and I hope you've found what I've done to be of use to some of you. Like I said, I can't take the credit for this as such, but it does help to share, because at the end of the day it is quite a huge cost saving at the end of the day, because like I said, when you're paying £7 or £8 for one bag and that's just one colour, you're able to sort of create a real mix of colours to give it a real blend. So please have a go. It's not very expensive to try, and even with the foam board, the foam board comes in various sizes. You can even get foam board for, I mean, the big sheet of A4, sorry, the big sheet of A1 that I bought of foam board cost me only a £5. So it is worth experimenting with. But like I said, you can even buy diddy pieces of foam board just to test. So you know, there's loads of ways of trying things out. So until the next time, it's goodbye from me. My name's Susannah, and I live with trains. And my next Susannah's Come Build With Me will be to do with the GBRF engine shed and the start of that build. So take care, and until the next time, bye bye.